Hello, everybody, and welcome into another week's edition of High School Roundup here on CUTV. I'm your host, Colin Kirkwood. I'm back once again, and joining me, as always, my good pal, Devin Harena, and this week is Doug Gladkey. Guys, welcome back. More High School Roundup.
Yeah, I'm chilling. Had to fill in for you last week. A couple unfortunate troubles, but now we got Dougathan back on the show.
Yeah, we'll see how he does. This is round two.
Gonna go well, so.
We can only hope here. But Devin, we're back in with more Laurel Highlands, and I think it was another struggle for them this week, if I understand it correctly.
Yes, it was really a struggle, but in the beginning of the game, they looked promising. As you could see from these highlights, they really started off the game well. As we get right into it, Gallagher, first play, the kickoff, returns it all the way back for 6 to make it 6-0. He breaks one defender, cuts it back upfield, gets it straight in. For 6, they missed the extra point, so it would stay 6-0, but that wouldn't stay for long as Ryan Thomas gets open and goes up for a nice touchdown, makes it 7-6 as Greensburg-Salem taking the lead, and they just keep it going. Patrick calls his own number, takes it in to extend the lead 13-6 as they missed the extra point as well. And Greensburg-Salem, this is right before the end of half, gives it straight up the middle to Briggs, and he will make it 19-6 at half. So at half, not down by much as Laurel Highlands comes out strong, and Gallagher gets in for his second of the day, 26-13 so far, and Patrick calls his own number again and plows straight into the end zone, makes it 33-13 now after the extra point. And right here, Greensburg-Salem getting another touchdown to Ryan Thomas, and just that's when they started to pull away. But right here, this is his third. Gallagher. Wow. Gallagher, the man for Laurel Highlands right now. 3 touchdowns on the day, giving them their 27 points. But Greensburg-Salem, too much for the Mustangs to handle as they would end up winning this one 47-27. As this is Gallagher, another great play, setting them up for another touchdown. 47-27. Greensburg-Salem takes the W, but Laurel Highlands looked promising in the first half, just couldn't get it done.
That might be their all-time scoring mark at this point in the season, 27. I mean, they look pretty good on offense. It's just they ran into somebody who was a little bit better.
Yeah, just a little bit better, and the defense needed to step up for LH and just wasn't there.
So we can take out the rest of the Big 8 here, as that was 2 of the members of that conference. Let's see how the rest of the conference fared this Friday. Indiana and Belle Vernon, not a close one there, 61-7. Indiana falls in that one. They'll be coming up with a big matchup against Trinity, who also will be coming off a loss to Thomas Jefferson this past week.
And Belle Vernon, just that team that can really score. We saw it last year with Mason Pasco. Now that he's gone, people filling in for him, and they've just been taking over ever since.
Now the score we got here, Ringgold and Gateway in a very odd matchup here. Gateway 49, Ringgold nothing, and then West Mifflin taking on Newcastle. That most undoubtedly was a good one. 35-27, an instant classic, I'd have to say.
Yeah, and Gateway, holding a team to 0 is hard in any shape or form.
Any
so
aspect,
holding Ringgold to 0 just shows that Gateway is good defensively and can really take it to anybody.
Now we can check out the standings here of the Big 8. Here we go, Thomas Jefferson up top 5-0, and then it's kind of close towards the second half in the bottom here. West Mifflin 3-2, Greensburg-Salem still hanging around 2-3. They haven't lost in conference yet. As well as Belle Vernon down there 3-1. You can't count them out as well. And then Trinity, Indiana, LH, and Ringgold round out the bottom here. Who's your sleeper pick to watch halfway through the season, Doug?
I would be watching for Belle Vernon. I know they're 2-1 in their conference right now, but I would like to see them go up against one of those big 3 teams that are currently undefeated in their conference and potentially get an upset victory late in the season to kind of flip-flop things late in the year.
Had a great run last year, just ended up running into South Fayette in the playoffs last year, so that really shut them down quickly. But let's check out the Interstate 2A scores here from this past week. Another great conference with a lot of competition. McGuffey, 46, Beth Center 14. The Bulldogs continue to struggle here as their season falls flat, as Carmichael's loses to Charleroi as well, 57-7.
Yeah, this has to be the story of the year. Beth Center falling, and this is not the outcome we expected to see for Beth Center. But McGuffey, a tough team, hard to take that loss. But Charleroi losing Pellegrini and Dakota Romantino just filling in where they left off. 57 points, geez.
Somewhere Dylan just felt that pain, he said, losing Pellegrini. But anyway, we can check out the next scores here from the Interstate 2A. This is the one I've been watching, Southmoreland and Brownsville. Southmoreland 62-21 over the Falcons of Brownsville. Sorry about that, Gary, but Southmoreland looking strong, and they're heading into an important matchup this week, which we'll talk about later in the show. Then Washington taking on California, 20-46, with Washington actually winning that one. Ended up being backwards in that one. That's been my mistake. And then we can check out the standings here of the Interstate Conference. There it is, Southmoreland 5-0, McGuffey 5-0, Washington 5-0 as well. That's what we're going to have to watch out here for. 3 great teams at the top. Southmoreland looking to break one of the longest playoff droughts in Whitfield history.
Yeah, Southmoreland is looking to break that huge playoff drought. Obviously, you have your big 3 here, but I would say Charleroi is a sleeper. They've been surprisingly good this season since losing Gino Pellegrini, and I would watch for them later in the year.
You never know. I mean, it might be difficult for them. They had their wonder year last year. We'll see if they can come up with another great year this year. And now we can check out the Big East 5A coming up here in the score category. Latrobe picking up the win over Connellsville in a close one, 34-27. Then we have McKeesport and Plum. Plum showing a lot of heart here, but losing to McKeesport 62-40.
Yeah, I was going to say, putting up 40 points, that's the struggle. When you score that much and you give up even more, that's just your defense got to be able to step up in those games like that.
Checking out the rest of the Big East 5A here. We've got Penn Trafford. They traveled to Ohio for a matchup with Massillon, and they lost 42-21. So Penn Trafford kind of got knocked off their podium here, if you will. And Shaler taking on Franklin Regional, another non-conference matchup here. Shaler picking up the win 28-17. Traveling to Ohio for a game, you don't see that every day. And there it is once again, Ringgold and Gateway. Gateway coming up with that win. Non-in-conference, but Gateway 49, Ringgold 0.
Yeah, you definitely don't see going to Ohio in high school especially, but if I was them, I wouldn't be down at it. You go to Ohio, you score 21 points, you do what you came to do pretty much, and scoring-wise, you just defensively gave up a little bit too much, but anyway, that's a fun trip we've made, the New Hampshire trip.
I mean, it's becoming more of a thing here. Harrisburg, back from the central part of the state, traveled out to near the Hall of Fame area out in Canton to play a team a couple of weeks ago for their season. And of course, Southern Columbia, another powerhouse in the state of Pennsylvania, traveled down to South Carolina to play a regular season game to open their season. So it's starting to be a regular thing here as we look at the Big East 5A standings here. Penn Trafford up top, 4-1. That loss in Ohio won't hurt them too bad. And Franklin Regional 3-1 and Gateway 4-1 as well.
Yeah, it's always good to humble teams, especially like when you're undefeated and you lose one. That kind of puts you back down. Even though it wasn't a game that you could really affect you, it just puts you back down that you're not the best, so to say, but you might still be the best in your division. You just have to be able to bounce back from this loss.
Definitely have to agree with you on that one. We're going to have to take a quick break here, but we'll be back. Don't worry, we'll have more exciting high school roundup coverage for you. The CUTV Game of the Week highlights coming up next, as well as 3A scores and standings. A lot of great games in the Big East 3A. Tri-County South scores and standings coming up, and the hometown standings as well. Don't go anywhere. You are watching High School Roundup right here on CUTV. Yep.
Colin, what's wrong, man?
I just don't know how my family back home in Millersburg, Pennsylvania can watch our stuff down here.
Well, they could follow us on Twitter, or they could like us on Facebook.
Yeah, but what about our sports? How can they watch those?
They could watch it live on our YouTube channel.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man. Let's split a ride home.
Have you seen the new Cal U Vulcan logo around? Have you wondered where to get gear featuring it? Then go to calvulcans.com and click shop. Log on and browse a full selection of men's shirts, women's shirts, pullovers, hoodies, and more. All items feature customization with the new Cal U Vulcan logo and wordmark. The site also features a full selection of hats, tailgating items, and accessories. Don't be the last person to sport new Cal U Vulcan gear. Go to calvulcans.com today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into High School Roundup here on CUTV. I am your host, Colin Kirkwood. That's my name. High School Roundup, that's my game. And sitting next to me here, we've got Devin Harena and Doug Gladkey back again.
Yeah, love to be back. I like the second seat. Don't like the host as much.
Well, you better get used to it here. It's calling your name here in a little bit. Got a couple more shows. I'm about to be washed up.
No, never washed up.
But now we can check out these CUTV Game of the Week highlights. After a great broadcast with PCM, we saw Quaker Valley and Elizabeth Forward in a game that ended up not being as close as we anticipated when we scheduled it back in July.
Yeah, that game was really good.
Check it out here. It's going to be EF getting on the board here first. Guy by the name of Hunnell is going to run it into the end zone from 10 yards out here as EF takes it in and they get up 7-0 early.
Yeah, EF really took control of this game early, and they struggle usually in first half instances.
Checking out another one here. It's going to be a long rush for the Warriors, 35 yards to be exact, from a guy by the name of Lewis, and he gives Elizabeth Forward a 14-0 lead here as the Warriors continue to pile it on the Quakers here. Quakers haven't been on CTV in quite some time. Here comes another touchdown coming up here, a 5-yard run from Hunnell once again. 21-0 Elizabeth Forward here as they continue to just let it roll. Once again, it's going to be their 4th rushing touchdown of the game for the Warriors. This time it's from a guy by the name of Watton. 28-0 in favor of the Warriors.
Yeah, and that's all in the first half.
Here it is, one more time, another rush. This time it's Lewis again giving EF a 35-0 lead as they continue to just pile it on here and add to their lead. But then we're going to have a great play here. You might see this a little bit later in the show. Can't really tease anything too much, but it's going to be a guy by the name of Kutchmember here. So he's going to take this kick all the way back for a touchdown here. Fall off 1, fall off 2, dodge 1, whoop! There he is, right past 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Quakers. They get on the board here. They needed that, 35-6. And then finally, it's going to be a guy by the name of Mervos throwing to Jacob Pra from a short distance, and EF gets another touchdown in the end of this one as they go on to win 42-6. Looking tough here.
Yeah, Quaker Valley came out a little bit too slow for this Elizabeth Forward team, but Elizabeth Forward looking great, scoring at will, and actually that first half bug that they had in the beginning of the season, they bounced back from that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the Big East 3A the way it is, you really have to play tough to be able to get into that conference. So we can check out the rest of the scores from that area as well. A lot of great games this past week. Darien North Catholic was the one I had my eye on over Friday. North Catholic 13, Derry 3. Then Mount Pleasant 26, Deer Lakes 29. 2 close ones to start off the Big East 3A, but Darien North Catholic, 2 heavy hitters in the Big East 3A.
Yeah, and I believe that was my stamp of approval. Derry let me down there, but only losing by 10 points. So that North Catholic team is just something serious, and to be able to only give up 13 against that team is just
they're doing something right.
Yeah, something to look forward to.
Check out the rest of the Big East 3A here. Uniontown 14, Freeport 56 as Freeport was starting to get off to a hot start here, and they continue to roll. Yock 6, Burrell 40. There's the Big East 3A standings here. Another log jam towards the top. We've got a bunch of 3 and 2s here. Deer Lakes, Derry, and Burrell. Then, of course, North Catholic 3 and 1, and EF 4 and 0. EF looking tough, but always going to watch out for Derry, North Catholic, and heck, even Deer Lake could make a run at it. You never know.
Yeah, Deer Lake's one of those teams this year that's really under the radar. Nobody has been looking at them all season, and Elizabeth Ford has been taking the shine. But North Catholic can really is in between and can take first, but can as quickly drop down to third. So just have to watch out for that.
Really got to watch out for that conference here, as it was a photo finish last season in terms of who was going to make Whitfields. But now we can check out the Tri-County South 1A now. Bentworth and Mapletown, another great game here in 1A. Bentworth 47, Mapletown 42. Jeff Morgan 44, Avella 7. Avella really starting to struggle on the season so far at this point.
Yeah, Avella has been really struggling. That was a big loss to Jeff Morgan, losing 44-7. Hopefully they can bounce back next week, but as we said, they've been struggling. But let's get into these next set of scores here.
Yeah, we got West Green 49, Monessen 24, and then there it is once again. That one's right, Washington 46, California 20 in a 2A, 1A battle here, as we've seen that. That was on CUTV's Game of the Week last year. And then one more, we had Stowe Rocks hosting Shar Houston. Stowe Rocks 46, Shar Houston 7.
Yeah, Shar Houston should not get down on that loss, so to say, because that Stowe Rocks team is just a powerhouse, especially on offense. So just being able to go out there, play your game, score 7 points.
Get ready to be on Game of the Week here in a couple weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now we can check out the standings here of Tri-County South. West Green starting to run away with it, 5-0 here. Then we got California 3-2, Shar Houston 3-2 as well. So I mean, it's continuing to shape up here for a good October matchup coming up later in the season.
Yeah, West Green, just that team that's going to have to watch out, especially being on TV kind of gets the kids bugs, like butterflies all over the place. But got to play your game. Don't worry about anything else. Don't even worry about the refs, and just do what you came in to do.
Always got to worry about that. Now we can get to the best part of the show, at least I think it is. We've got the hometown standings board. Always a great time to see what everybody's up to. There's Richland still at the top, 5-0 now. They're halfway through the season, haven't lost yet. Conrad Weiser making the jump, 3-2. Devon's liking that. And then we got Sprayberry out of Georgia. It's going to be our tease for the Alumni Picker of the Week. Wonder who that's going to be. So rack your brain during the commercial break and see if you can figure out who's going to join us on the set later. Brownsville 2-3, Millersburg 2-3, had a tough shutout loss to Line Mountain at home last week. Connellsville 1-4. Oof. That's all I can say about that. Halifax 0-4. Also, oof. That's all I can say about that, too. Then Laurel Highlands down there 0-5. I know Bobby D's not thrilled with that, but it's the way it is. But Richland 5-0.
Yeah, they've looked really good this year. The only real challenge they'll have on their schedule is Week 10 whenever they play. I forget the team, but they are currently ranked in AA, 5th in the state. So it's going to be a tough Week 10 matchup for them going into the playoffs, but I'm thinking at the very worst, they'll go 9-1.
It's going to be a battle at the bottom there to see if it's going to be either Nolan or Bobby D who's getting us all a pizza at the end of the year. You never know who's going to come out of that. But we're going to take one more quick commercial break here, and we'll be back with the third segment. We'll have our pick'em standings, the alumni picker reveal. Keep thinking about that. Sprayberry, Georgia. Who's it going to be? The special in-house picker this week. You're going to love this when we get to that. The pick'em games, and of course, Doug's certified fresh top 3 plays of the week. A lot more stuff coming up here in the third segment. Don't go anywhere. You're watching High School Roundup right here on CUTV.
Join us for World College Radio Day
this year on October 4th, 2019.
To celebrate, WCAL is doing a 24-hour remote in the Natali Food Court.
This is our official kickoff of our stuffed animal drive.
This is our attempt to set a world record.
And all the animals will go to charity.
Listen in at 91.9 FM or follow along at 919 WCAL.
Consider the future. Your future. At California University of Pennsylvania, you can build your life your way because we believe in you. We invest in you, empower you to create the future you envision. We give you the tools and teaching so you can rise up and achieve. Don't settle for someone else's vision of you. Build you at CalU. Visit us at calu.edu.
Hey HSR fans, this is Zach Prosba, class of 2016 with CUTV. Glad to be back to get the alumni picks for the selection this week on High School Roundup. And Colin and Kerr have sent me a six-pack of games to go over and talk about with you guys. So we're going to get right into it and see if maybe I can post a 6-0 record, maybe claim my first title. I never got that when I was this HSR host or analyst. I got close. Never got the trophy, so we'll see if I can do it this week. We'll start with the upper divisions. We'll go 5A. Penn Trafford and Plum. I'm going to go Penn Trafford in this game. I was witness to the longest play in CUTV high school football game of the week history, a 106-yard interception return by Penn Trafford against Connellsville. So I'm going to go PT in this game. Maybe they'll pull off some more big play magic to get that victory. Then moving down, we're going to go Indiana over Trinity. Trinity was a team I knew a little bit about, but I never got to see Indiana in any game that I did. So curious, in a matchup of a team I really don't know much about and another team who I sort of know, but never really got to witness in person. So I'm going to go Indiana in this one, but Trinity could easily pull the upside, I think. Now, EF and Derry. We're going to go Elizabeth Ford. It was always one of my favorite places to go for a football game of the week coverage. And I keep seeing some stuff about Elizabeth Ford, even when I'm away from coverage and all that, seeing different outlets report on EF. And I think they're going to get the big victory and keep rolling. Now we're going to move down to AA, McGuffey and Southmoreland. I'm going to go McGuffey on this one. I know a little bit more about the Highlanders, and I think they're going to get the win over Southmoreland this week, and just feel a little more confident knowing a little bit more about McGuffey. Then we're going to move down to Monessen and Bentworth, and this is actually kind of a good matchup because I knew more about these teams from when I was with CUTV. Monessen, great power at the beginning, but they dropped off a little bit as I got into my junior and senior years, but Bentworth rose up. So we're going to go Bentworth in this game and hope those trends continued and get me that pick correct. And now the CUTV game of the week. We're going to go Ringgold over Beaver. Ringgold was the first place I ever did a high school football game of the week. I remember standing out in the rain just below the press box at Joe Montana Stadium, shaking my knees off because it was so cold and rainy, and seeing Ringgold play Bell Vernon. That started a 4-year experience that I'll never forget in the football game of the week and led to some great memories, some great highlights, and great time with the CUTV crew. So to Colin, everyone there, Gary, thanks for including me in this. Hopefully I get that 6-0 record. And if I do, I'm expecting my prize in the mail pretty soon. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Check it out here. We've got the Pick'em standings. Twitter, 6-0 last week, 17-1. We got a logjam at the top. Bobby D and Nolan fighting it out, all 17-1. I'm still hanging around. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving. 16-2. Gary Smith, 16-2. Doug's got a 16-2. And then the guest alumni as well. Tough shoes there to fill. Mr. Prosba, you got to go a while up the standings there. And then we got the mayor, 15-3. TK's 15-3. And the puppy is 11-8. She's still a good girl. She's always going to be a good girl. And she'll keep it going here. So we've got our special guest joining us in the studio here. You've seen him from, the top of the leaderboard as he continues to run the show here. We've got Bobby D. Bobby D, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Here he is, Bobby D. He's on. He's ready to make his picks live and in person this week.
I enjoy this. It's a lot of fun, And my wife, she gives me the call and I give her the picks, so a lot of times I really don't know. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
I guess I'm a good guesser.
And now we're going to do it live here this week. Let's get started with our first matchup. We've got the 5A game of the week here. Let's see it. There he is, Bobby D.
All right, what do we have?
We got Plum and Penn Trafford, I think.
I took Penn Trafford.
Safe to say here, Devin, you going with Penn Trafford?
Yeah, going with Penn Trafford. Even going to Ohio and losing that game tough, but they'll bounce back. But Plum did have a great game, scoring, 40 points last week. So we'll have to see if that's going to be an offensive game or one of those gritty defensive games.
Gotta love those gritty defensive games. Gritty, gritty, gritty. Let's check out the 4A here. It's going to be a big one. Trinity and Indiana, two members of the Big 8 here. Doug, you're thinking about Indiana. It's kind of bold if you ask me.
Yeah, it is kind of bold. I feel like I try to make at least one bold prediction a week. So this
Trying
week
to
the bold
steal
prediction
Devin's
is
thunder over
Indiana.
here, huh? Trying to make your own. Do we need to make like a Doug's
No.
bold pick of the week
No.
thing too here?
We don't. But I just, kind of, you got to at least take a risk.
Bobby D, what do you got for this one?
I went with Indiana. Is Trinity any good? I'm not sure.
They're real close on paper.
Yeah, they won. I think they won one game, but the game's at Indiana, I think. So that might make a difference. They play. I think they play well at home, up there up north.
Devin, I think you're getting a stamp out of your pocket here.
I gotta get my little tool out because this is my seal of approval here.
You went with the Trinity.
Went with Trinity.
He's trying to shake the curse here, looking for the first seal of approval victory this year.
Yeah, I think this is the one. Trinity back home is a great team, so I'm sure that Trinity out here is the same way. So.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's bold. Let's check out our 3A game, and this is one I'm definitely excited about. We got EF and Derry. It's going to be a barn burner. Gary's going with Derry, but we're all sticking with EF here. What do you think, Bobby D?
Too much offense. They got a lot of offense. Derry.
All of it.
Wait a minute. Where is that game at, guys?
Derry.
Yeah, it's at Derry.
Oh, might be a burner. Might be a real good game. But I like EF. They score.
They score a lot of points.
They
we
do,
saw it,
don't
yeah.
they?
Doug, what do you think?
I'm going with Derry. Or no, I am going with EF. I read the graphic wrong. I did pick EF. I thought they had a very impressive showing last week on our CUTV game of the week. The run game was working, so I'm expecting a lot of the same this week versus Derry.
Sorry, Colton. Sending all the love, my best, but I'm going with EF here. Just can't pick Derry. Devin, you're thinking EF too.
Yeah, Derry let me down last week with my seal of approval.
This is a good one to pick, though. I'll give you that.
3-13, great game, but Derry let me down. Can't give them the benefit of the doubt this week, so got to go with Elizabeth Ford.
And Zach probably going with EF as well. Here we go. 2A game of the week. This is the barn burner of the week. As much as I'd like the 3A, I'm going to have to go with this one. Southmoreland and McGuffey. This is going to be one. If Southmoreland pulls it out, they're going to prove that they're here to play this season. What do you think, Bobby D?
Too much McGuffey. Way too much. They not only have a good offense, they'll shut you down. I mean, I like them. They got a nice squad. I go with them. Southmoreland, they haven't. I mean, they beat my daughter's team. What was that? Best Center, and who else? They beat Brownsville. They haven't played anybody. They haven't played Washington. They haven't played McGuffey, and they haven't played Charleroi. Those are, I think, the three best teams in that conference. That's just my feelings.
Doug, what do you think?
I'm going with Southmoreland. I think this is going to be really a back and forth kind of matchup. But
Switch it there. Doug's changing to Southmoreland. We need to have this documented.
You went with McGuffey, Doug.
Oh, let me see it.
The
Flip
way
it
it's
over there.
positioned is like.
He switches. There it goes.
Got it.
I'm going
You got
Hill.
Southmoreland too, Colin.
Oh, I'm sticking with Southmoreland. I am all on the Scotty train so far this year. What do you think, Devin?
Yeah, I just love it. I love to see these teams that come out of nowhere and start winning. And that's Southmoreland. Southmoreland has yet to be proven as a great W, but has been blowing out teams. So you have to take that into consideration. But McGuffey has been one of those teams that each year you hear the name every week. But Southmoreland, I think, is going to shut them up this year.
TK going with the Scotties as well. Twitter thinks McGuffey's going to win. It's going to be a close one. I'm really looking forward to this one on Friday. I wish we were doing this one. What was I thinking when I scheduled this stuff?
That is,
But there's going to be more good games coming up.
Yeah, we have them playing Charleroi coming up here in a couple weeks.
Oh, okay.
It's
That'll
going to be
a
good.
Great game.
1A, let's see it. Monessen and Bentworth. A little split here. Devin and Doug, you're both thinking Bentworth. Explain?
Yeah, Bentworth, I looked up some stats from last week, and they did really good. So Bentworth kind of persuaded me to pick them, and Monessen hasn't really proven themselves to me so far this year, but Monessen is one of those teams that you hear every year as well. But Bentworth, I think, is going to be able to come out the water and win this one.
He pleads your case there, or do you have anything else to add?
Is it going to change?
I mean, I did.
Yeah, is it going to change?
No, it's not going to change. I did some research on Bentworth. I compared the matchups, and I like Bentworth in this one.
They also had one of the best top 3 blue ribbon plays high school Roundup has ever seen last year. The one-handed interception falling backwards in week 0. What a play, Bobby D.
My thing about that game is this. Menneson's a proven commodity. Bentworth, good luck.
I'm thinking Menneson too here. And we got the game of the week here. Zach Prosba. He's trying to show something that I guess we don't know here.
I know.
What do you think, Bobby D? I think Beaver's the safe play.
I really do. Poor Ringgold. They haven't won a game yet this year, I don't think.
Nope, not yet.
You know, that's sad. And that was a storied program. I mean, they've had a couple coaching changes.
First program to ever get a full 10 on the CUTV hot dog score scale. That was the first time that was ever done.
Is that right?
They got a full 10.
And I changed it.
Yeah, right on the set.
You know what's crazy about them? That guy that used to coach Aliquippa, he left them. So what's his name? Zarek.
Yeah, Z something.
Z
I
something.
know what you're talking about, but I
he's
can never say
at
it.
LaSalle now, and he couldn't help him. And I feel bad for him because that's them and Laurel Highlands would be a good game.
That might be one of those picking games. I'll store that when we get to that point. I'll definitely go with it here. Now it's time for the certified Doug E. Fresh plays of the week. Doug, let's see what your best judgment led to.
All right, this number 3 play, it's going to be this run up the middle for EF. Thought it was pretty impressive to be the number 3 play. And then for 2 and 1, we got some special teams action going here. The Quaker Valley game against EF. The Quakers getting on the board in a big way.
Good choice.
With a huge kick return. Thought this was impressive, but not as impressive as the one we saw last week with Burl.
Correct.
I think that block made the play a top fresh play.
Number 1.
And then here's LH.
Oh, is that Gallagher?
Yes, that's Gallagher. He's making a
Oh
house call.
my God, is he that fast?
He is flying.
That's on the first kickoff.
And then cuts up to the other side of the field.
But was it enough?
No, was not enough, but great play.
Was
Blue
it
ribbon
enough?
Play.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was not.
There he is, Christopher, the man of this year so far, breaking 3 tackles, stiff arms 2 people, jumps over him.
Oh, man.
Runs
Best
over
play
one.
so far.
Yeah, I love that play. It gets me hyped every time I see it.
Not enough. I like what you got there, but definitely not enough to get that one out of the way.
I don't know
here.
if there's any way that's gonna be topped
I don't know.
because
I
that
don't
was so impressive. He ran through so many guys.
Yeah, really, you're right.
It's definitely a great play here. Now we can talk about this week's game of the week coming up here. Beaver at Ringgold. Check it out.
Yeah, Ringgold. This is their chance to try and prove something. But Beaver, I believe, is going to be that team that's just going to be. It's going to be a close one, but it's going to be like 2 touchdowns close. That's how I think it's going to go.
I know you'll be watching, Bobby D. What do you think?
What he just said. I hope Ringgold can put up a fight. They're home, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they can give them a fight. I don't know much about Beaver. I mean, that's what Beaver County team. They're usually competitive. You know, they're in a hell of a conference with Aliquippa and
all the big guys up there.
Beaver
Newcastle.
Beaver Falls.
Yep. Doug, what do you think? It's going to be a good one?
I think it's going to be a good one. I think Beaver's going to win it because their program's been in a bit of limbo to start the year. They've been in limbo in recent years, so I'm going to go with Beaver.
I'm definitely going Beaver too here. It's going to be a good one. First ever 10 in the CUTV hot dog score history of the world, the encyclopedia of all things knowledge. So we're going to see if they can live up to the hype here again this week. And of course, Devin, I know as soon as we get there, Devin's going to drop everything, run over to that Joe Montana sign, and go take like 20 pictures.
That's cool.
I'm a 49ers fan, so love to see that every time I go there. But yeah, I gave them a 10 last year. They gave out free food.
That's a win in my book.
I seen him play in high school in Montana. He killed our program, Laurel Highlands. I seen him play. They had a good team.
Wish I could have seen that.
And you know what's even sad about him? He was as good a basketball player as he was football. Montana, you know.
It's the Bobby D inside information here.
Yeah, it's the truth. I mean, I've seen a lot of high school games, and I knew he'd be a good one. He's, you know, he had fluid throwing. You know, you could
the technique's
look
there.
at him. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Famer for a reason.
You know? That's what's crazy about Western PA. You got Kelly, Montana, Marino.
Ken Griffey.
There you go. I mean, we're lucky to be around here, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that brings us to an end of another great high school roundup episode. Thanks to Bobby D for joining us here on the set this week. Always fun to have him make his takes live in person. Devin, Doug, any final thoughts?
No, just can't wait to get into this week's matchups. A lot of good ones this week, but great to have Bobby D on the show. Love to have new people on the show. Dougathan's back on the show.
Yeah.
So,
love it. I really liked having Bobby D on. I thought it made it fun, made it interesting. So
thank you very much.
Definitely.
Yeah, we might have to have him back here later in the season. We're talking about doing a live show somewhere, and maybe you'll have to come join us in the field. Yeah.
That'd be fun, man.
It's going to be a lot of fun. But thanks to everybody in control room, Johnny, Carl, Gary, and TK all holding it down back there. Thanks to Doug, Bobby D, and Devin for another great episode. And we will see you again next week with another great episode of High School Roundup.